This is actually based on an old exam question. We're asking you more than what was asked on that exam, but this diagram and everything is very similar. Okay, so we're building a small fish pond, and then we have a surrounding flower garden as pictured here. The design is pictured. The pond will have the shape of a hemisphere. That is very important, right? You've got your hemisphere with a plastic liner that must be installed. Okay, plastic liner is probably important. The pond must be excavated, right? So the pond must be excavated before the liner is placed. The garden will not be excavated, but there's a 4-inch deep layer of topsoil. The pond liner and water pump have a cost of $150 altogether. The soil is sold in bags containing 2 cubic feet, that is volume, right, of soil per bag, and each bag costs you $6.99. Excavation costs you $125 per cubic yard. This is going to be a theme throughout here. All items must be purchased in whole units. You cannot purchase partial quantities. You can't. What does that mean? Well, you can't buy 0.3 of a bag. You cannot pay for an excavation that's like 0.3 of a cubic yard. Everything, whenever you see a price attached to a purchase, you have to buy an entire of it. So an entire extra bag if you need the extra, or you're going to have to pay for an entire extra cubic yard of excavation if that's necessary. So price and the amount, right, they're attached, but we first are going to focus on how many do we need before we figure out the cost. And some of you might remember that from last year. So let's break this down. A, determine the cost to excavate the pond, not including taxes. Not including taxes. Hold on, I need to be careful here. If it says not including taxes, another way the province might say this is before tax. Okay, so they're saying the same thing, and it does matter because I don't want you to be thrown off if it's worded differently. So let's do A here. For excavation, what are we going to do? We're just dealing with the pond here. That's the only thing that needs to be excavated. Okay, so excavation. What is the shape of the excavation? Chemistry. Okay, got it. So we would use, I hope you would understand that this is volume. Volume of a hemisphere would be 2 pi r cubed divided by 3. This is for me, my note. Don't forget to divide by 3. I'm telling myself that because I'm notorious for forgetting this as well, and I see that a lot in students, so make sure you don't forget about it. So let's figure out how much we need to excavate. 2 pi, what is my radius? It is 3, right? So I'm just going to say the radius in here, is that going to be too busy? It's going to be too busy. I'm just going to, right, when it comes to this little circle, the radius is 3. 3 feet, correct? 3 feet, so I'm going to bring that in here. That's 3 feet cubed all the way, and that's divided by 3. So let's figure out what that is. 2 times pi times 3 to the, so I use that little hat button with the 3. Make sure if you're gonna later on, okay, pay attention to this. Don't keep typing while it's up there blinking. Go arrow sideways to bring it back down if you're ever gonna need to add more to it. So that's the top. Don't forget to divide by 3. And that's 56.5486 ... And what are our units? Feet, cubic feet. Why am I not rounding? Because that's not the answer yet. It wants me to figure out the costs. I'm not there yet. But I know how much needs to be excavated. What's the problem with this and the price for the excavation? It's in cubic yards. This is cubic feet. And this is a very classic conversion that you're going to need to have on your study sheet. What's the conversion to go from cubic feet to cubic yards? We know that 1 cubic yard has 27 cubic feet because it goes back to the point that 1 yard has 3 feet. So if you cube both of them, 3 cubed is 27. Okay? Sometimes some ACs will test you on this, like a student will go 1/3. What's the problem? The problem is that it's not the right conversion rate. So that the feet go with the feet when we multiply it like that. And so basically what ends up happening is you go 56.5 something times 1 divided by 27. I'm just going to go ahead and divide by 27. So that's how many cubic feet cubic yards you're excavating. 2.094 something cubic yards. But we can pay for that, right? The contractor would say, you got to pay for how many cubic yards? 3. As soon as you're past, if it's 2 point anything, you got to pay for the extra. Okay, you can't round down. I mean, maybe the owner would, but we don't. In this course, always. So we go like this. Approximately 3 cubic yards. You put down the decimal, but then next to it you go wavy equal sign. You're saying approximately 3 yards that you're going to need. Now we're ready for the cost. Only now. Don't be taking this. It's assumed that we only go per cubic yard. So we're going to go 3 cubic yards times, what is it? 125. And that's 375. No taxes yet, right? If it asked you for taxes, you would do that at this point. Did I do any taxing? I haven't done. I'm all mixed up with all my courses. But if you do taxes, you would go times 1.12 if it's 12% tax. We will get to that, so I won't talk too much about it right now. Okay, A is done. Phew, right? I think I used up too much space, but that's why I left the page 34 blank. So if you need that space later, we can do it there. B, determine the cost of soil to build the garden, not including taxes. So again, it's saying before tax. That's all it's saying there. Okay. So how are we going to do that? The cost of soil. Let's go back to the diagram real quick. The soil is only going to go here, right? Soil is only going to fill up this around here. And the soil, as soon as something has a little bit of a height to it, we're talking volume. All right? So we only want that donut around it. Do you remember us doing that? Remember the pipe question in a couple pages back? That's kind of what I want you to think of. Let's do a 3D here. If you gave this a side view, the soil is that volume surrounding, right? We don't want, obviously the pond we don't want, but we just want the soil that's around it. And how deep is that soil? 4 inches, right? See it? 4 inches. So that's 4 inches. Okay. What do we know about this here? You got to do some math, right? 6 and 2, that's 8, but we're not done yet. There's another 2 on this side, correct? So 2 plus 6 plus 2, that's 10 feet. 10 feet across because of this, right? I went 2 plus 6 plus 2. gave me the 10 feet. So now we have everything we need to deal with volumes. I'm going to call this capital R. I think you're going to start noticing that pattern when I have a bigger circle or bigger, then I use capital. If it's the smaller, I use lowercase r. What's the problem there with the units though? Feet, inches? I'll show you a way around it. I hope I'm not going too fast here. But to know how many bags of soil I need, I'm going to go total volume is the volume of large cylinder minus volume of small cylinder. Go ahead. So total volume is going to be pi r squared times height plus, not adding, subtracting, minus pi lowercase r squared times height. Those are the formulas I'm going to be using. Here we go. Pi, capital R is 5 feet, correct? And watch what I'm going to do here. Pay attention to this part. It's 4 inches, right? As soon as you put 12 underneath inches, it is now feet. Anything in inches, put a 12 under it, it's feet. It's actually converting it to feet by doing that. So I would just do that. And I'll probably make a note up there. Let's go make a note up there regarding this. Because 4 inches is really 1 foot has 12 inches, correct? And the inches cancel out. What are you left with really? 4 times 1 divided by 12. I'm going to highlight that because that's different color. I'm going to go green. Let's go green. And I'm going to highlight this same color. I'm going to bring that down to my work here. So from now on, I'm just going to assume every time it's in inches, I'm just going to slap a 12 under it, and boom, it's in feet. It just saves you. Mr. Harrison, could I go 4 divided by 12? Can I do this? I'm more comfortable going like this. And then just go 0.333. Yeah, you can. If that makes it easier for you, you go for it. Minus pi, radius of the small one we already determined earlier was 3, correct? That's the small circle in here. We already determined that is 3. So I'm going to go 3 squared times the height, which is again 4 over 12. It's the same height for both cylinders. And now we can crunch the numbers. Please do one at a time. That's probably smarter. Okay. So I'm going to clear what I have. I'm going to go pi times 25 times 4 divided by 12. Can I do this? Yes. If there's ever only one number underneath, multiply everything on top and then just divide by what's down there. Yeah, sorry. 5 squared is 25. That I just cut to the chase there, but yeah, you have a point. I should be careful. So this is 26 minus, I'll do the other one. I think copy paste is the way to go here. And I'm just going to change the 25 to 9, and I'm going to delete. There's a delete button on your calculator. You can just delete the other number because it's a double digit. Hit enter, and that's 9.424 something. And now you just copy paste. Go copy that 26, enter, minus, copy that one, enter, and you end up with total volume of 16.755 something cubic feet, because we made sure everything is in feet, so we can say that this is what it is. We're ready to do the cost, sort of. But what is soil? What is it sold in, or what units quantity-wise? It's sold in 2 cubic foot bags. Okay, they come in that. So earlier we rounded here because you just say it comes in cubic units, so we're just going to round. In this case, we need to go bags. When it's like this, you have to go 16.755 something. You divide it by 2 cubic feet, because that's what it comes in. And it's after that we're going to round. So divide that by 2. That's 8.377 something. So we need to buy approximately, how many? 9 bags. 9 bags. And now we're ready for the cost. 9 times $6.99, and no taxes, so that's all we're going to do. $62.91. That's very cheap. I got to redo my math there. The prices, at least. That's too cheap. But anyways, $62.91. I just want to say something real quick here. Go back to this where my pencil is pointing right here. If this question had said that bags come in 1 cubic foot bag, just 1 cubic foot, you could have just rounded this to 17 right here, and boom, you do your cost. Okay, but it's because they come in like 2 cubic foot bags, we needed to do that extra step here. Okay. Okay, we got that. B is done. C. Let's see what, I want to read it first. The pond liner, water pump, and soil have both GST and PST. Here's another annoying change. PST is also called RST, retail sales tax. I know. I'm always like, just leave it. Stop changing it. But they could use either one. Okay? RST, PST, same thing. Retail sales tax. PST. Okay, so sorry. The liner, the pump, and the soil have both PST and GST, but the excavation only GST. Grab a highlighter, and this is, I don't know if I did this in grade 11 with you, but GST only for excavation. And I'll say this, in Manitoba for services, you only pay 5% GST. So for example, if you rent, I once rented one of those bouncers for my kid's birthday, and they only charge GST. So services normally are only charged GST services, okay? So let's do that. So we need to figure out the total cost including taxes. So here's including taxes. Write this down, please. If the province says plus tax, it means the same thing. So if they said determine the total cost plus tax, it's saying including tax. I'll remind you of this quite often, but just make sure you understand that. All right, now we go and do this. So we're going to have to draw from everything we have so far. Let's do the excavation right away. The 375. That one only gets GST applied. We'll do that first. I'm going to go to 34. I'm going to do C here. Excavation. I'm going to go 375 times 1.05. And the reason being is 100% is the 375 and the 5% GST makes it 105%, so it's 1.05 as a decimal. And I don't have that on here, really? Okay, we'll do it now. I probably made a change on my booklet. 393.75. Oh, I'm not going to circle that because that's not the final answer yet. Sorry. My bad. Not that it's a big deal, but only circle your final answer. And then it says that the soil, I'm reading, soil, pump, and liner, they all get 12% tax. So let's go figure that out. The soil we determined is 62.91. What about the pump and the liner? If you go back under those bullets, it does tell us that the liner and the water pump are just 150 together. So it's just that. So we're going to add these two together and multiply this by 1.12 because it's 12% tax. So 62.91 plus 150 is 212.91. That's before taxes. So here we have it, 238.46. I'm not going to circle it yet because we're not done. So now here's the total. Total is going 393.75, this number up here, plus 238.46. If you add that up, Mr. Dirksen, you're rounding as you're doing the math. Every time with money, you're rounding every time. I know. For some reason, that is okay. To do this, get your 2 decimal there, and then do this, get your 2 decimal. You're not going to be penalized for doing that. So this is 632.21 is your grand total. That's what the question was asking for. Okay, we're almost done, and then I'll give you class time to do, yeah, I should maybe say 5% GST. And this is 12%. And why is that? 7% PST or RST, 5% GST. I should take the time here to mention, if sometimes the question will ask you to buy extra liner, like 10% extra just in case you don't have enough. So then you would do the same thing as we do with taxes. Like if you want to add 10% to something, it's just 1.10, right? So sometimes I'll use that to do it. We're almost done. We just got to do the walkway yet. Okay, so I'm going to go back to D and read it with you. The Yosiks would like to build a walkway from the house to the garden. Make sure you follow, guys. Okay, so from the house to the garden, we basically want like a walkway here. And it's 3 feet wide. So we know it's 3 feet from here to here. And it is to be paved with bricks measuring 4 by 8 inches. Okay. Indicate the total number of bricks required for your design. Did it tell you how far the walkway is? Sorry, it's right there. Open your eyes, right? 12 feet. So it's a 3 by 12 stretch. It's a rectangle. So let's do the math here. If you don't mind coming with me to page 34, this is D, and the walkway measures 3 feet, as I was saying, 3 feet by 12 feet, correct? That is this stretch here. So let's figure out the area for that. This is how you do a question when you're trying to cover something. You want the area. So that's 3 by 12. That's 36 square feet that we're talking about. This is the walkway. Right? This is the area of the walkway we were talking about. The area of just one brick is what? Look at it, 4 by 8, right? 4 what? 4 inches by 8 inches. And here's where you come in and realize, wait a minute, this isn't inches, this isn't feet, we're going to have a problem. I will do it this way. Area of just one brick is going to be 8 inches. Did I tell you what the secret is to make this feet? Put 12 under it. I don't like that. It's ugly. You have a calculator. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I will multiply the tops. 8 times 4 is 32. 12 times 12, 144. Okay? So you go 32 divided by 144. One brick covers this many square feet. Obviously, right? Because it's a small brick. It's like 4 by 8. It's like this big. Right? So when it comes to square feet, it doesn't cover a whole lot. Now I will find out how many bricks. What would I do to figure out how many bricks? Area of the entire walkway divided by area of just one brick. That's how you see how many. So you go area of walkway, area of brick. So that would be 36 square feet divided by 0.222. And now you're thinking of pizza, right? 222, 22, 22. Oh, it's a round number. That is odd. This is just coincidence. It could have been a decimal. Right? You would have rounded up if it had been a decimal. But it's this many bricks that are required. No cost, right? That's it. In this case, no cost. That concludes this very long and painful example. So we did a little bit of subtracting volumes. We did a little bit of, area, where you have to go area big, area small, divide, things like that. Okay. For tomorrow, we have about, 20 minutes left. I'm going to ask you to try one that is similar to this, and that's on page 37. So I'm going to, for now, say try page 37. It's a long question, I know. And I said page 11, right? With the backwards questions. So don't forget about them. This is backwards. If you're lucky and you finish 37, you do 11. And after that, if you want to give this one a shot, I will do it with you. There's a truncated cone. Almost sounds like a swear word, right? Some of you will consider it one. Truncated means you cut something out. So if you have a cone and you cut it, and you're just left with the truncated part, so surface area and volume of the scenario. So that would be page 19. I know you're busy, so only if time allows, if you already want to kind of give it a try, this is truncated. That's basically a paper cup. Think of it that way. Truncated cone. Or just a cup in general. Thank you, guys. I'll walk around. I'll probably post a bunch of pages, but you just have to